Hello everybody, it's Holly from Beside Orchids. I think we're going to do just a little chat today. I'm going to have a little bit of coffee and we are going to water some orchids. We can talk about all the gardening I've been doing, which is not orchid related, so if you want to buzz on out of here to go do something you want to do, that's fully understandable. But I do have orchid talk information and yeah, some new spikes coming on. So I'm really happy about that. What should we do first? Let me see. First of all, welcome everybody. And thank you, every new subscriber coming on. Oh my goodness, it's so nice. Nice to meet you. Thank you so much for showing up to my channel. Now, I'm going to show you some of these. If you've watched previous videos, you have seen the babies that I am nurturing along. And I'll tell you, there's quite a few of them. they're a little out of hand. But as you can see, they are growing. So I'm very, very pleased with these. The majority of these are living in a clay pot, unglazed. That's very, very crucial. If you want to go terracotta pot with your orchids, you cannot buy glaze. If they glaze the interior of that or the exterior of it, it's defeating the purpose of letting it respirate. It's allowing the moisture to come out in and out and the air to go in and out. If you are if you're getting glazed pots, it's kind of almost like you're putting them in plastic. And if you're trying to get away with the plastic for aesthetics, or just basically you want to be able to control the moisture levels a little bit easier so they don't stay overly wet for too long, then you want to go with a basic, very plain terracotta. And you can get these in other colors nowadays. They have some that are kind of off-white. So you can change it up a little bit. But how I just water these is very, very simple. It's sphagnum moss in here. And when you put it down into the bowl with the water with a little bit of a all-purpose orchid food, I'm not using anything with the bloom booster. You don't want that. You just want a basic growth fertilizer. And these do have sphagnum in them because they are seedlings and they are in a terracotta pot. Now, this one's done. Just that simple. Where did this one come from so I can put it back? Yeah, there we go. I have an awful lot. You can see these are my LC mini song. This is a Cattleya variety. Laelia Cattleya, doing very well. I'm very pleased with these. Who do we have here? Oh my goodness, I have injured my shoulder. I don't want to say shoulder. I've injured my upper arm horribly bad. I have really hurt myself. This is Miltonia D. Fujitake Kaylee Cat. I'm over the moon that I own these. I'm really, really excited with these. So, yeah. I'm going to stop showing you these, then I'm going to have to start watering and chatting because, and when you put these with the sphagnum in, you will get air bubbles come about. So, hold it down till the bubbles stop. It sounds absolutely terrible, but you have to get all the air pockets out. You have to fill that little void with some water. So just like that, I have 2 filled. Now, I don't know that I have allergies, excuse me. I don't know that I have spoken to you since I have been doing all my orchid talks. I had 7 orchid talks in the month of April in the Richland County, there goes my sleeve, in the Richland County Library System. And I have another one in Upper Sandusky here next month. So this one, I want to tell you, this is the one, yeah, I'm sure it is. This one is one that at an orchid talk when it was so cold out, it did get left overnight in my car. It just fell out of whatever I was transporting it in. We're going to see. If we're not seeing a lot more signs of I want to live, that one might not be. We're not going to bother with watering that every single time. There's just something that size. It's very, very hard to save when it decides, I spent the night in a very cold car. I hate you. I should have never. I'm not going to live in your environment if you're going to leave me out in cold cars. So, yeah, you have to take care of your orchids. You really do. And that was just, as I was bringing home my orchids, one fell out. A teeny tiny little baby fell out. So honestly, it is really, really this easy. Now I do drain them. You can give a little tap to kind of help it come out. But I'll tell you, the watering regime of these is, wow, I think every 3 days because they are in clay. Now I have some here in terracotta. Terracotta. I have some in plastic, in sphagnum. I almost don't like this setup. I'm thinking I'm going to transfer these over into clay because they are not drying out. I want them to have some moisture, but I don't want to rot their very new, vulnerable little roots. I just absolutely do not want to do that to them. So I'm thinking next time I go to Lowe's, I'm going to pick up, what do I need? I just need 4. So there we go. I'm thinking I need to get 4 little pots. I have been purchasing, I don't have any out here right now, a shorter pot from Lowe's. It has the, it's actually an orchid pot there, and it's just terracotta. It has 4 like long, I'm looking at it now, 4 elongated holes in it. Oval. So yeah, and those are very reasonable. I think they're like $3.75 or something. You know, that's not bad for an orchid pot. You probably can even hear the air bubbles coming up out of there. But these, I believe, right here are Prostechia cochleata. I'm gonna have to look at my tags. Somewhere there will be a tag here that's gonna tell me I'm wrong, I'm sure. Well, you know how I am with my tags. I don't think I'm gonna be proven wrong today. The tag's missing. I'm sure it's laying down over there. But anyhow, I had 7 very wonderful orchid talks. Oh my goodness, I'm so excited. It was so much fun to trot my orchids out, gather them all up. No, that wasn't fun. But it was fun to have them there for people to view. I do adore my orchids. I do love talking about my orchids. And it's so nice to just take a whole bunch of the most spectacular blooming ones and some non-blooming ones, because let's get real. People have to understand that's the reality of orchid life. You're not looking at pretty blooms all the time. You really are not. So that's why we do take the Maxillary tenuifolia. It's absolutely gorgeous plant even when it is not in bloom. And you know, look at the leaf structure of your plants. If you're not liking what that leaf looks like, forget the bloom. If you don't like what the leaf looks like and it's going to live in your home with you, you might want to think, do I really want a whole bunch of this very odd looking leaf in my home? Because a lot of them don't look like really great house plants. They just don't. You're not going to have the spectacular foliage. So really keep an eye on that. That's why I really like the oncidiums. I just think I'm looking at them now. They just look so tall and grassy. I have a bit of a dilemma I will share with you. I have an orchid talk in June, on June 15th. And here's my problem. I have so many orchids. You know, I have a lot of orchids. Well, a lot of them are just now spiking or going to be heading out of bloom, which means I'm going to be coming into a dead zone with blooms. I'm going to be coming into a pretty dry period. And literally just by a few weeks. I actually told my husband last night, I said, I wonder if I should ask him to postpone. Just postpone everything. Redo all your paperwork. Tell all your patrons to please come back and I'll give Holly 4 more weeks. Let's go August. Let's go August with these so she has more pretty blooms. So we decided that it's going to kill me to do it. It's going to just be too much. I'm going to call Sheldon. I'm going to say, hey, just maybe 5. Just bump me up 5 beautiful, blooming, spiking orchids to just, to fill out. I like to have a large table just full of blooms. I don't think it's fair to people, particularly this library, who is paying what other libraries pay, but that's not normally in their budget. They normally don't. So I don't feel it's fair to them to come in slipshotting with 5 blooms. Now, come on, that's not really fair to them. So it wouldn't be fair to any library. Let's get real. So I am going to, it's going to be rough. It's going to be really rough to unpack those orchids from Sheldon. But I'll probably give him a call today. and say hey. I like to call him personally because he knows I've ordered so many from him. He knows I can say hey. Don't put any of this kind in. I'm overrun with this, or I just don't like it. Just don't like it. Can you please not put it in? Like, I don't want any noblies for the rest of my life. I do not want any more Dendrobium nobile orchids. I have enough. I just don't want any more. Is that mean of me? I don't know. An entire family of orchids I just said I'm done with. No, I don't know. I've never been a true. I love the scent. I love the way that they smell. But I'm just not a fan of dealing with, like I said, the canes. What's left over, what you have to look at when they're not in bloom. They're not pretty. They're very not pretty. You're going to have dried, dead up, desiccated looking canes. And speaking of desiccated, dried up, my catasetums are not anymore. They are coming out of their dormancy. And I'll put a video up. They have some nice growth on them. I have Cycnodes Wine Delight. And I have, oh my goodness. Have we watered these all already? See, here's my dilemma. This one hasn't been watered in 2 times. This will be the second time I don't water. It's in sphagnum, in plastic. Now, granted, there are no holes in here for the air, which is kind of a no-no. But in my defense, these were orchid pots at one time. They did come from a nursery. So, honestly, these 4 plants are moving. They're moving into terracotta. So I am going to go ahead and give them a quick water because, like I said, in my experience, sometimes I think that the sphagnum moss is still wet, and it's not. They really need that drink. So, yeah, I need to go to Lowe's. I'm trying to think when I'll be up there next. I was everywhere yesterday. I decided I'm having a self-care week. So I went, I've been doing lots of gardening. That's my self-care. I've been hitting the garden centers. Shopping. I've been shopping. Shh, I've been shopping. Don't tell my husband I've been shopping. Oh, he sees it. He sees them all lined up in the driveway. He sees all of my plant purchases stacked out there ready for me to plant. Now, we can't plant tonight. And I'm going to have to cover a few things because, believe it or not, we're dropping down to possibly 37 degrees, and we're down in the valley. So we might be talking a little lower than, other people's 37. Like in Mansfield, we might be a little colder than that. So I'm going to have to cover a few tomatoes. I'm going to be busy this afternoon covering some things up. But yeah, I went to Kingwood Gardens yesterday morning. I had a little thermos. I had my pretty little coffee cup because my brother gave this China set to me before he moved to Cambodia. So I took it and I marched myself in. I said, well, I'm going to go shopping in your greenhouse. Can you let me in early? So I did get to go into Kingwood Garden greenhouse early. I mean, they're not going to stop you if you're shopping. Come on, let's get real. So I did purchase a beautiful new coral bell. And I'm trying to see out there what else I have. I can see them from here, but not well enough. A coral bell and, oh my gosh, I bought 2 plants at Kingwood. And then I was very blessed. My daughter for Mother's Day gave me a nice Groovy Plant Ranch coupon, a gift card, and a friend of mine from the library system who's just amazing. She had been down there on a bender. She had spent a lot of money at Groovy Plant Ranch. And every time you spend $100, you get $10 little punch, in your little customer card. And when you get so many punches, I think $100 worth, you get $10 off. So she had been on quite a bender, as I said. So she gifted me that. So I was very, very happy. And in fact, Kelly, if you're listening, they did say that they remembered you shopping down there that day. So you really had fun. So she did gift that to me. So I did get to go down and I had a really, really nice time. And I just spent a little bit more than my gift cards. But hey, when you're down there, you might as well get a few things. And in full disclosure, my intent was to get a few orchids so I didn't have to call Sheldon. But Their orchid collection in the summer, as it always is very, very poor because they don't want to focus on that in the summer. They focus on the orchids in the winter. So there was one budded orchid I could have taken home for a whopping $25, a very tiny one. And I said, no, this trip is going to be all about my outdoors, filling up my flower beds. I have a bank outside that goes up to the next level of our property that's literally maybe 150 feet long, about 8 inches tall. 8-inch tall bank out there, an 8-foot grade till you get up to the top of it. And I decided it had to be a flower bed. So I probably have maybe 75 feet of it coming along pretty well. But poison ivy. Oh my gosh, this property was dripping with poison ivy. So yeah, I have been working myself silly out there. I did get a new garden tool at a greenhouse or at a garage sale that had just a tiny little hook. And my husband, son, and sister, it's a snake catcher, which it's not, it's a garden tool, good heavens. But it just has a little tiny hook on the end. And I envision that will be really great for grabbing a thistle or some random weed that's growing up on that bank, because I have fallen down the bank a few times. You're up there balancing and you go to pull out a big weed. Yeah, you're going backwards. I'm too old for that. I am way too old to be falling down an 8-foot bank with a weed in my hand. So I have a couple things I want to share with you today. This one is one that always goes, I'm going to move this out of my way. I don't need a bowl of water in my face. There we go. This is one that I always, you probably get rid of the wet cloth too. Excuse me. Totally discombobulated. There we go. This is neofenitia falcata. This is a basic white variety. This one always goes to my orchid talks because I love to tell the very amazing tale of back in Imperial Japan times when only royalty could own these orchids. And these people, they love it. They love it. You gotta have a little bit of drama in your classes. And there are actually some today. These were only allowed to be owned by royalty. And I believe they even were in gilded cages. And if you were allowed to go visit this orchid, your neighbor called you over and said, I'd like you to come see my orchid. You had to wear a mask. You weren't allowed to breathe on it. Today, you can go and you can look up the most expensive neofenitia falcata, and it's going to run you $110,000. Yeah. I don't own that orchid. I'm going to say I'm probably not going to stumble upon that anywhere. And if I do, I'd rather keep my house. I'm not going to mortgage my house for $110,000. You would almost have to do that. Unless you're blessed with a huge pocket, which I'm not. But this one here is coming into spike. It's never, ever gone to an orchid talk in spike. I always tell them about these fabulous little dragon heads that kind of are just leaping out into the air. Nobody's ever seen them. Upper Sandusky, you're going to see this orchid. I'm just over the moon. I was watering them the other night and I almost squealed. I said, Reggie, this is going to be in bloom for my orchid talk. I'm just over the moon with this. And from what I am reading, it will bloom 3 of the leaves down. The spike will come out. And, oh my goodness, I didn't get that on there for you. Do you see it there? It's right here. I don't want to do anything to damage it. I'm so excited. But anyhow, it is blooming 3 down. So if you own a neofenitia and you don't have a large enough plant yet to have 3 down, let's wait a while. It will grow. This one came from Hauserman. It's nondescript. It's not much to look at. I mean, come on, look at it. This is it. This is what you're getting. This short little orchid. But this would make a beautiful houseplant. And it's very happy. It has nice little root growth coming out. But yeah, and it blooms. The scent is amazing. I really recommend these for the scent. So that's good. Upper Sandusky, you're going to see that. Here I have another one that I also did order from Hauserman. Oh, does it just say pink? I can't read some of it is coming off. Neofenitia falcata times something pink. So this is going to be a pink variety. And it's coming along. It's struggling a little bit more than the other one did. So I don't know if it's just the variety. I mean, if I can grow this one well, why can't this one? You know what I'm saying? So sometimes if you have an orchid that's just struggling for you, cut yourself some slack. I mean, there's dump trucks. Oh my gosh. I've listened to there I am kvetching again. I'm furious. I'm just all day long. Dump trucks going back to the new people that live next door. It never ends. My dogs howl, my dogs scream because these dump trucks go back there. And they literally they're dumping. It makes a lot of racket. And it feels like the house is coming down. I live in a 120-year-old farmhouse. It shakes. You get a little shake when that dump truck comes banging down. So, yeah, it's rather noisy here, which is great when I'm gardening. I love to be outside gardening, and these dump trucks drive right past my garden was formerly known as my sanctuary, my fortress of solitude. Nope, not anymore. There's my little gripe for the day. It's not the last one. I'd like to say it's the last gripe of the day. It's not. It's really not. This one here, I am thrilled to death with. If it stops shaking. This is another one that, honestly, if you wanted a beautiful plant just to have sitting around your home, this is it. I did order this from, I believe this was at eBay. I'm venturing out a little bit into eBay and Etsy, because every now and then with my collection size, I have 160 some. I want to get what I want now. I'm becoming more the collector instead of just the orchid hoarder. I have amassed a very large collection. Thank you, Sheldon and Carmela Orchids. But you're getting what he wants to send you. You're pretty much getting what he's gathering and he wants to send you, which is great. If you're building a collection, all the way, that's the way to go. Unless you want to specialize in a certain orchid. But I wanted a Psychopsis Mendenhall. And I have never seen one come in with a Sheldon order. So here it is. And I ordered this, gosh, maybe last spring. So no, I will have to go back and look. Maybe last fall, the previous fall. It probably was a birthday gift to myself. If there's an excuse to have an orchid, I'm going to find it. Oh, I'm feeling sad today. I need an orchid. Oh, I need to celebrate this today. Gonna get an orchid. It's my birthday, Christmas, Mother's Day, whatever. Listen, you can find a reason to add an orchid to your life. You don't have to look very far. We're out of bread. Oh my gosh, I'm just so sad we're out of bread. I'm gonna have to go order an orchid. No, that's too far. That's going way too far. But hey, how about just because you are a beautiful, wonderful human being and you want an orchid? Why not? I'm gonna give you permission. Go out and order yourself an orchid today. Or run down to Kroger and just treat yourself to something really beautiful to add some joy to your life. This spike, believe it or not, after waiting year and a half, because I did grow this new growth. This one's mine, so I'm going to claim that. I have a spike. It started, I want to say 4.5 weeks ago. It just started. So look at that. I'm going to say it's maybe about 12 inches tall. And from what I'm hearing on the internet, the buzz out there, because anyone who puts a picture up of their Mendenhall blooming, I'm going to grill them. I'm grilling those people. Like yesterday at Kingwood Center, I was there so early, all the volunteers were there doing all their weeding. They got grilled. The normal people, I can't think. The employees there who handled the grounds, they got grilled on several things. So, take advantage of people's knowledge. I mean, don't be abusive. Don't go up and pester them. But if you see someone that looks friendly, if you come up to me and ask me about an orchid, I'm going to tell you. But some people are going to be like, leave me alone. And you respect that. Some people just don't want to deal with people. And there's probably some days I don't want to deal with people either. That's when I stay home and quilt. But if I'm out and about and someone wants to ask me an orchid question, by all means, I'm going to talk your ear off. You're going to know more about that orchid than you ever wanted to know. But yeah, ask people. If you're a gardener, ask people. Ask people about their plants. Ask them about their favorite or their worst, what's going on with it. Same for orchids. Especially people who live in your area. or in your same kind of a plant zone, what do you find you struggle with? And maybe don't waste your money on that orchid. Maybe go ahead and get something similar that's going to do well for you. So it's all just hit and miss. You really, and educate yourself. You really do have to educate yourself, which is why I love giving these orchid talks. I have people who come in and think they can only get an orchid at Kroger. Well, that's wonderful if you like Phalaenopsis. And I have some. I'm not an orchid snob, but sometimes you want a Mendenhall. Why not? Why not get a Mendenhall? Why not? Why not? Life is short. My husband always says, life is short. Do what you want. Or I'll say, what do you think about this? He goes, it's America. Do whatever you want. Well, fine. I do hold into that a lot, though. I'll say, well, it is America. I guess if I want to go get another orchid or another plant, I'm going to just go get it. So sometimes he lives to regret saying that. But yeah, this has grown in just roughly a month, a little over a month. And from what I'm hearing, go back to my original topic before I squirreled off, some people are seeing a bloom at 2 months. So possibly another upper Sandusky orchid. I really hope so. Now, this spike can live, I'm hearing at the high end, 12 years. So you don't want to damage this. In fact, I made my daughter come over on Mother's Day and look at this. I brought her in this room and said, you have to look at this orchid. I'm so proud of it. She put her hand around it. I'm like, what are you doing? What are you doing? I just told you how precious this spike is. You just wrapped your hand around it. No, you don't touch my orchid spike. So here in the home, I wouldn't use a spike with this one, a stake. But if it is in bloom for the orchid talk, it will have a stake. It will be fully supported. And it also will probably be seatbelted up front with me in the car. I'm not going to let anything happen to this. Because if you've invested so much time buying the orchid, financially, and then the time of caring for it, and just the pure anticipation, I don't want this spike to break right now. That's the last thing that I'm going to want happening to this orchid. But it is a sequential bloomer. You will get one beautiful butterfly or samurai sword warrior, whatever you want to call it. It has several different names. It is a butterfly shape, they say, because it's pollinated by a wasp. I'm going to tell you this. I bring this up in my orchid talk, even though this orchid's not allowed to go. It typically doesn't go because it was working on a spike. But it's pollinated by a wasp. And so it looks like a butterfly. These orchids are very highly advanced. They're intelligent. They're very, very intelligent creatures. They trick that wasp into hating it because they hate this certain butterfly. And that wasp just says, okay, I'm going to attack you. I'm going to kill you. I don't like you. I don't like you, butterfly. You're done. And this orchid is very happily being pollinated. It's like, hey, it works. I have convinced somebody to hate me so much, they're going to attack me and pollinate me. That's the wonderful world of orchids. I'm telling you. Go onto the internet and just look up these orchid history. Oh my gosh, it's a rabbit hole you could go down forever. You could just have so much fun learning about the history of all these fabulous orchids and why they do what they do. An orchid is at the apex of the plant. I can't speak. An apex plant, top of the line. It didn't climb that hill for nothing. It did not just magically appear there. It's a fighter. It's going to survive. It's going to find whatever means it takes to get up there. And it's going to live. It's going to have a great life. And if it takes a wasp attacking you to get you through in life, bring on the wasps. No, don't. But you know what I'm saying. Sometimes something bad has to happen to lead you to something good. I'm sure when it's being attacked by the wasp, it's really not that terribly happy. But it is pollinated. It's pollinated. So mission accomplished. This orchid has pollinated itself. Not this one. And it will go on to create a seed pod and create more of these beautiful orchids out in the wild. So I don't know. I'm besotted with orchids. I really am. That's why I chose the name. I just can't get enough of them. Them in my little Lilibet, wherever she's hiding. She's such a hiker. So I'm going to say, is that about it? I'm looking at my orchids over there. I don't know who I want to drag over. I'll have to do a bloom video. I have so many in bloom. But like I said, so many are also coming out of bloom that I am sadly going to have to place a little order with Carmela. That's probably on my to-do list today. We do have a homeschool meeting and meet up with a whole bunch of families at the park. And I also I'm preparing his assessment for his assessor. I have so much joy involved in getting your assessment ready, because you do get a variety of everything he's done throughout the year. And you have to put it in a beautiful little folder. And you know what I did this year? I cheated. Absolutely cheated. I spent this morning saying, why am I printing out photos for his folder when I can just hand the assessor my phone, open the album, and say, here you go. So we'll see what he thinks about that. He's probably going to be, you're really phoning it in this time. So, in fact, John even said, I have no interest in even going to the assessment meeting this year. So, it's probably just going to be me and the assessor and all of his little work he's been doing all year. So, thank you so much for bearing with me, my chattiness, and thank you for tolerating my absences when I go out in the world and take care of so many things I'm out there doing. Needed or not needed, I'm still out there doing them. Some days I'm so busy. And other days, then I just come home and I'm just like, I'm not leaving. My car is not leaving the driveway. In fact, my husband said, because we have a rather large driveway, he's like, one day you're never going to pull out of that driveway again, are you? You're just going to stay home. I said, yeah, it's coming. It's coming. They deliver food nowadays. Walmart delivers. Kroger delivers. One day, unless I'm going to the plant store, I'm probably not going to leave the house again. I'm just going to enjoy my little world here. So I hope you're enjoying your world. I hope you're enjoying your time. I hope you have time with your orchids. And please like, share, subscribe. Every little bit helps. It really does help. And just take time for those orchids. Just take time for yourself. Sometimes we think we're taking care of the orchids and they're taking care of us. How's that for your little deep moment for today? Sometimes the orchids are taking care of us. So you guys have a great day. And above all, enjoy those orchids.